So this is the True Temperament Strandberg guitar. There is a slight twist in the neck, and with these guitars, True Temperament, it's all about precision and perfect tuning. And I noticed right away that this guitar is uneven and has a dip here that goes from about the 12th fret roughly to here, and it causes buzzing and playability issues. It's noticeable. You can see it to a trained eye. If you look at it right away and you don't know what you're looking at, that's one thing. But when you do a lot of guitars and you play them, you can tell what you're looking at. So the top part right here is slightly straighter. It's not as bad. It is there though. It's on about 3 or 4 frets here. But this part, there's a huge gap right here. And this is as straight as it can be, which doesn't mean straight. So when you put the straight edge on it, you can see, I'm going to try to get in the camera. Okay. You can take a piece of thin paper here or a card, and you can see that the paper can move freely through these frets right here, which you should not be able to do. Everything should be tight right here, but this is going all the way up to about the 12th fret. So when you get to the 12th fret, you can't really move it anymore. See how it stops? So when you go through here, it's free again. See that? So when you go to the high side right here, this happens more on just about a few of the frets. If I get this tucked under here, having trouble seeing. Okay, so right here you can see it on these frets right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is slight here, which is tolerable. You know, it's not as bad, but if it was all like this, that would be one thing. But this side right here being so drastic, and this spot that you're going to play a lot of bass stuff, lower riffs, and what that does, it creates really bad fret buzz and uneven tension. So it just gets worse as you go down. And it gets really bad. This is a bad area. It's because there's not enough room for the frets, the string to vibrate over the frets when you get to here. So when you strike a note here, it's just hitting these frets and making noise. Up here, that one little spot, you can tolerate it. It's not fun or preferred, but yeah, you got that little spot in here, which you can kind of hear it, but when you get up here, it rings true. But I play in more areas than just the 12th to the 24th fret. So if you're playing all in here, it's fine. And for the most part, if you're just, it makes it to where you can play here relatively comfortably. And then when you get into here, you know, that's more normal. But all the areas in here where you're playing all your main riffs, all these areas, it's very frustrating. You can feel it with the tension. It's a little heavier with the tension. And you can hear the buzz. So it just feels uneven. Another thing is that the tuning, these strings have been stretched, even though they're newer, the tension is sliding with the string going out of tune. Like, I'll show you what I mean. So when you go to bend it at all, it's not. So see how it's real flat now? Now I can show you on the tuner. So I'm gonna try to get this on. I'm gonna get this to where you can see it. Okay, so let's see. Oh, you see that? Oh, you see how flat that is? That's a G. So I'm going to bring it back up to tension. Let's see here. We're going to go okay, a little sharp. Let's get back to tension, to the right tuning. And again, this is a True Temperament fret. It's all about tuning. So we're at a G now. You see that? Okay. Okay, so that's a G. When I do any sort of bends or anything, these are stretched. They're not, it's not like when you change strings and they just go out of tune constantly because you didn't stretch them. They're stretched. I tried this over and over. There's just some slippage between the mechanism here or in the bridge. I have to do more research on that, but I did see that that could become a problem if someone had over tightened these in the past and everything has been set properly at the rear. So there's a G. Now we're gonna just bend it. We're not trying to make music. We're just bending. A normal bend of about a whole step. And now we'll see how low that is? So I started noticing this as soon as I changed the strings. And this guitar was in much worse shape before I changed the strings. But this is one thing that's really not good. So that requires some sort of replacement of one of the components, which I have to do a little more on, as I mentioned. So you see how it's already gone flat again? So there's this constant, if you want to do any sort of bends, constant readjusting, and you run out of tension eventually in the bass. You can't just keep, because of the way the system is here with these, you can't just keep tightening them and like forever. So I did notice slight slippage with the other ones, but not as bad. So see how that's staying in tune? So staying in tune, right? B, staying in tune. The G, here it's already going down. Going down, already flat. So let's bring it back up, and you see that's very frustrating. Very frustrating. It makes it difficult with a guitar that's supposed to be all about precision. So let's check on the D. So the D, a little better. Yeah, the D is fine. So it's the G. So it's happening a little bit on the D string or the A string. Let's make sure for good measure that that is not from stretching, which I know for a fact it's not from lack of stretching on the G, but so we're getting a little bit of the same thing. So it's like it's not held tune. So you get this constant thing. I know you're not gonna bend the low ones as much, but you get this constant back and forth pull of having to tune it and you don't want to bend a string. But that is, I think, from what I've seen briefly, over clamping from the previous user where they actually cannot hold tune anymore. So some component part of the locking system would need to be replaced at that point. So we have something that is almost impossible to adjust because of True Temperament frets with the neck, and that would be through a fret dress, which you can't do on these that I know of, and they can't even be plecked. But with that kind of thing in the neck, that curve, you would have to basically get a new neck. And then the only other way to fix that would be, again, as I mentioned, fret dressing, but you'd have to take a bunch of height off the frets on the high end, and you still have the uneven curve, which isn't normal either. So I hope I've explained some of this well enough. I can do another video on it and be a little more thorough and concise, but hope that makes sense. This is about a 9-minute video, 9 minute and 50 second, 10-minute video. So thanks.